I'm going to start by saying you guys are amazing. The support you showed on the FA Cup semi-final, part 1 and part 2, and then on the first LTF Let's Talk Football video it's just phenomenal. It really is just phenomenal. I was really quite nervous about the LTF. I didn't know how you guys would respond to the actual first episode, because I was slightly nervous, and I think that showed. And but the response from actual Arsenal supporters and the response from you guys has filled me full of absolute confidence, and I can't wait to get a crack on with that series. And if you guys do want to play against me, remember, I will be tweeting out, so follow me on Twitter to have a chance to play against me, have some banter with me, have a laugh, talk about Jaffa cakes, have a brew, and we can get some decent content. I'll probably get slapped a lot, but that doesn't matter. But again, thank you ever so much for your support. You guys are absolutely fucking magnificent. Absolutely magnificent. Anyway, this episode is jam-packed. 5 games. Look at that table. Seriously. Oh, I can't believe we're in 4th in the Premier League. Oh my God. 4th. We are absolutely phenomenal. Oh, it sends shivers down my spine at how good we really are. This team is peaking. I know all the players haven't reached their potential, but these boys are peaking. They play so well, and my defending is getting better. Look at that. Yes, come on. That's just amazing, utterly amazing. Look at Raheem Sterling. He's starting to grow nicely, gets to the byline. Josie moves back, takes that step back, and bang. Great header into the bottom corner. 1-0 to West Ham. And I tell you what, playing this game, I just felt so confident. So confident within my players' abilities. And that's, again, it's something I've said before, and I know you guys are probably bored of it, but that is absolutely down to you guys for recommending such tank players. And speaking of tanks, wow, that boy is a tank. Absolute tank. That was an absolute beast header. And walking in at half-time 2-0, look at Tompkins. Look at the swagger in his step. That's pure confidence. That's pure confidence, because he knows he's in the FA Cup final. The FA Cup final. Oh my God, I still can't believe it. And Ben's here. Look at this. Look at this. He's getting absolutely mauled by the centre-back. That is so naughty. But how did he pull that out of the pocket? Absolutely amazing. If you watch it on a replay, he is literally getting absolutely mauled by the defender. He is all over him. He's that much all over him, he might as well just ask him out on a date. Otherwise, we might have to get an injunction out against him. It's ridiculous, but my God, he pulls out. Look at him, pulled back, but no. You're not going to stop him from striking the ball so true and so hard. That was magnificent. Absolutely fantastic. And we were well worth our money at 3-0. Sunderland didn't really create a lot until to that opportunity, and it was Fraser Campbell. And to be fair, it's probably one of the reasons why Fraser's not playing for a top team is his finishing. No, he's not renowned for finishing the ball off and getting the goals. You know, he was as a youngster. He was a really good youngster, but he's never lived up to his potential and fruition. And as you can see, a little bit of cocking about nearly cost me a goal. And that's just how confident I was feeling at the time. I was feeling really, really confident and had such faith in the boys' ability that, you know, cocking about nearly cost us a goal. But at the end of the day, we won 3-0. And look at this, Ward-Prowse. Yes, he's bang in form. He's playing really, really well, you know. He hasn't had the greatest amount of opportunities in the last few weeks. But you know what? When he comes in, he does such a solid job. And it got me thinking, why has the media mentioned this? And then it hit me. Matt the Sex. He's obviously after a pay rise for Ward-Prowse. What a cheeky git. Unbelievable. Got to say a big up to Matty the Sex. Diamond geezer. And that was nice to get a message of him. And yeah, if you're after a raising Jaffa cakes for Ward-Prowse, son, we'll have to think about it. We'll have to think about it long and hard in the summer, I feel. So we have another exciting game against QPR, and as I say, this episode is jam-packed with the 5 games in the lead-up to the FA Cup final, which I'm looking really forward to recording and doing as a live episode, obviously, because it's just such a huge game, and we actually have to play Man City, so you'll see that in this episode. It should be quite an interesting one. But I want to ask you guys a question. I get a lot of messages on YouTube from people saying, why don't you ask for likes? Now, I'm probably quite a proud man, and slightly, I don't know, I stand by my content. I feel to myself that if my content's good enough, you guys will, you know, click the like button, which means the world to me, but I don't see why I should ask for it. I think you should be able to stand by your own content. Is that a good thing to do, or do you think I should ask for likes? I only literally ask this because, you know, a lot of people who I watch always ask for likes, and that it seems to increase their views, which is obvious. I understand the fundamentals, but I'd really like your feedback, because I don't want to pressure people. I don't think that's fair at times. I really don't. But you guys let me know, and QPR came out and absolutely had a crack. And I was like, Jesus, this is going to be a tough game. But for you guys who have been following me for a long time, you know QPR are awful and they leave a lot of gaps. Now, if you watch as we build up here, Ward-Prowse knocks it into Benzir. Now, look at how many defenders QPR have got, but look how they're bunching up and the space it creates. And look how Josie turns and the acres of space he's got to go into. And that's just a simple finish, an absolute simple finish. It's something I love about playing QPR. They just invite you onto them, but they invite you onto them with gaps. And those gaps you can utilise, you can break through. I mean, there's is that 7 defenders back there? 3, 6, there's like 7 defenders back there at that time. They just leave so many gaps for you to break into. And yeah, we capitalised. It was 1-0. And again, I know I'm really shit with free kicks. So yeah, I go for the short free kick, knock it to Sissoko, but he squares it across to Benzir. Look at this. Oh, that was so unlucky. That was an absolute beast effort. He's growing so well. And look at Filippo. Look at the swagger. The swagger on the players is just purely down to the confidence that we're playing with. They really are hitting their peak. It's so nice to watch them swagger about. And look at Adrian. This is where we got a little bit too cocky. Trying to piss about a bit too much. Give away possession cheaply, which I know I'm renowned for at times. We then do the Cardinal, which is not clear the ball. We don't make a decent tackle. A great ball over the top. And yeah, Hoylett gets a decent header. I mean, that ball over the top was a little bit bullshit for me. When he was falling over and he still managed to get probably the most accurate and floated ball over the top ever. I don't even think I could do that with my player standing up, let alone falling over. And then look at this, Sissoko. Now, Sissoko never gives the ball away. Absolutely never, but Hoylett strips him. A great header, a great save, and of course, yeah, the player's there for the rebound, but to be fair, he would have been there for the rebound. It was unfortunate that Butland parried it into his path, but that's a great save. At the end of the day, that was an absolute cracking reaction save. So I can have no arguments. But being 2-1 down, I've got to say it was my fault. For pissing about on the right-hand side of midfield with Adrian, it cost us a goal. But Adrian makes up for it, puts a great ball into Filippo. And this is who you want at this time, at that distance, is Filippo. Because he's just powerful. He really is just powerful. And that finish is not something that surprises me because the boy is just absolutely immaculate. I can't wait for him to reach his full potential because I think he's going to be an absolutely unbelievable tank. A real unbelievable tank. So 2-2, I wasn't too disappointed. It was nice to swap a few players around, give a few players a rest as, at this particular time I was fighting against my emotions for the FA Cup final thinking, do you know what, I've got to rest players, I've got to rotate players a lot more, which I did, which I really, really enjoyed because it gives a chance to see a few of the young lads come into the team and see how they do. And look at this, Belgium are putting a bit of pressure on me to say, submit for the deadline, which we will do, but before I submit, I just want to ask the Belgium Football Association, where's my fucking Jaffa cakes? That's all I'm going to say. When I get my Jaffa cakes, I'll submit the team. Until then, no. I mean, Jesus Christ. So, we have the game against Manchester City. And I'll tell you what, they're having a crack at us. Look at that. They're putting out their strongest team. That's, Aguero up front with Hamsik is just quite sick, to be honest. That's a beast team. And we're putting out our full team. We're no mugs. We don't fear nobody. We don't fear Man City. They've come courting us twice and we've turned them down. Let's not forget that. They're a club in turmoil, in trouble. And I'll tell you what, Josie nearly set the house on fire with that. I think the place would have absolutely erupted. Now, Hamsik is a great player. He was a handful all game. I've got to say, Hamsik up front with Aguero is quite a scary combination because Hamsik, he's a really talented player. On this game, on FIFA 13, he really is a gifted player. If you have silly money at a silly club, honestly, give him a punt, buy him, because he is absolutely beastly. Aguero with a simple finish, poor defending, I'll stand up, hold my hands up and say yes, didn't pay any, lack of concentration, purely lack of concentration led to that goal, and that's 100% my fault. It's something I realised, against Chelsea you had to be bang on for 90 minutes, against Man City I've got to probably be twice as bang on, because half a chance with this mob and they will absolutely punish us. And as you can see, my defending here is not the greatest in the world, really struggling until the tank steps in and says, look, do you know what, stop fucking about, let's sort it out. Feed the ball into Adrian. Adrian knocks it into Josie. Josie's waiting for people to get forward. A great ball over the top to Benzir. Benzier gets into the box, hits the shot. That's a great save. Poor defensive header, falls to Josie, and oh my days. Tell you what, the house erupted when that went in. Absolutely erupted. Great finish by Josie, a swivel turn there, and I tell you what, in the 87th minute, that was pure genius, and we deserved it, to be fair. We did deserve it. So I'd like to ask you guys a questions now. The FA Cup final. Give me your scores. Come on. What do you think the final score is? You've seen the two best teams against each other. That was City's main team against our possible starting 11. We'll have to see. But it finished 1-1. Do you think that'll be the final score in the FA Cup final? Do you think it will go to extra time and penalties? Or do you think we'll win it in normal time? I'll be really interested to hear your thoughts and your recommendations for perhaps formation, starting 11. Because I am, honestly, caught in two minds. I've got a 4-2-3-1 in my head. I've obviously got the 3-5-2 in my head. I've also got the whole gun-ho, do you know what? Fuck it, let's go 4-3-3. Or let's go with the custom 4-2-4 where the two left wingers and right wingers just drop off a little bit, cut inside, and that just gives us so much talent going forward, so much pace going forward. So I'm really sort of stuck between, you know, I want to win the FA Cup at the end of the day, and I know I might have to play a little bit of negative football and take some probably limited opportunities. Anyway, against Newcastle, that is all we created. We dominated, don't get me wrong, we absolutely dominated, but that is all we could create, a long shot from Josie, which is really surprising because Newcastle are a little bit like QPR. They give you space to play in, they give you time to play in that space, but for some reason I was just having one of those games, do you know when, to be honest with you, I honestly feel that at this point in time, it was just all about the Man City game. I was analysing how we played against Man City, and I was thinking about the cup final, and that led to me that's just awful. That is honestly some of the worst defending I think you will ever fucking see on YouTube. That is just a disgrace. You know, I've come so far with my defending, and it feels like in this game I took a giant leap backwards. No forward step for mankind going onto the moon. More like a giant step backwards for a complete oath. It was really, really disappointing. And to be fair though, you know, Newcastle are a decent side. They play good football. Could buy with a nice shot. And Cisse with this header, oh my god. When you see this header, it's just like, what the fuck? What the fuck? Really? Oh, actually, I don't put it in there because that's pissed me off that much because I pressed the A button. I was in such a rage. So 2-0 down after 90 minutes. The ball falls to Benzier. Benzier just slots it home, and it's just a consolation. And a really disappointing consolation because we went on one hell of a run. Does anyone know what the run was? If you do, then obviously please post it in the comments below. I will be checking up on it, and I will let you know in the FA Cup final video. But we've been on a hell of a run. When you consider we were, 30 games for one loss, you know, 15 draws, 15 wins. I think that's phenomenal. We really have had a phenomenal season, and it was really disappointing to lose to Newcastle. But at the end of the day, we always knew that day would come. That day would come when we would lose, and we just have to take it on the chin. It's about how we can bounce back. Now, we're coming up with a game against Aston Villa. And this is a really tough game. You know, Villa are a decent side. They've got great pace. You know, they've got Albonga Hall, they've got Holman. You know, they're playing decent football. You know, a decent side. Average age, I think, in the real world is something like 23, 24. It's ridiculous. You know, they've got such great potential. And obviously, I really did mix the team up hugely. You know, obviously, I kept Tank and I kept Nathaniel in the side and Buckman because those guys have got great stamina and they didn't seem like they needed a rest, but everyone else got rested. Absolutely rested. I mean, I slotted in Lukey Shaw into left midfield because he can play there, and he's actually not too bad there. And I felt that it'd be nice to rest the players because in 3 days' time we would have the FA Cup final, and I didn't want to overstress the players. And when you start off in the 19th minute with like that, Kevin and Nolan with an absolute rocket launcher into the bottom corner, you think it's going to be your day. You really think it's going to be your day. You're knocking the ball around nicely. You're knocking the ball around gracefully. You're starting to feel that Barca of East London flowing through your veins. And then all of a sudden it just comes to a shuddering halt. Villa just turned it on. They became absolutely untouchable. Absolutely untouchable. I'm going to admit that was a cock-up clearance. Really, really was a bad clearance. We failed to clear it there again. You know, Butland was a little bit slow coming off the line, and we sort of gifted them a goal, which I can't accept. You know, we've done it against Newcastle. We've had a couple of slip-ups in this episode. You know, against QPR, against Newcastle, and now against Villa, and that's really disappointing. I mean, not as disappointing as that miss. Absolutely not as I think we all would have had a couple of bets with Jaffa Cakes there that Kevy was going to score and make it 2-1 to West Ham at half time, but no, he somehow sailed it wide, and that was really disappointing. But look at that ball over the top, great ball over the top. Tank gets in there, and I'm not quite sure. And I was in one of those stubborn moves, and I was quite raging. I was like, what the freaking hell was that bullshit? And I decided to have a look at it on the replay, and I'll tell you what, again, it's just a case of an eagle-eyed referee. The defender gets the ball, and then look at how the player falls over. Seriously, you can't award a penalty for that. Can you? Can you award a penalty for this? Do you guys think this is a penalty? Do you think this is a foul by the Tank? You know, look how he comes in. He gets the ball there. He gets the ball. The player just falls over, for me. I know you can see the leg where the leg is, but you watch how he gets the ball. As he comes in, connects with the ball. I know he doesn't connect with the ball, but just bear with me. Connects with the ball and the player falls over. I think it was a dramatic dive. I think it was a dramatic dive at the end of the day. But the great thing about it was justice was done. Absolute justice was done, because he sticks it over the top of the bar, which was fair play. But unfortunately, yes, I decided to press the A button, gift the ball to Aston Villa. And in the 84th minute, they slot it home to make it 2-1. So I've only compounded our season by playing really, really shit, to be honest. And I was really, really disappointed and gutted. I was so angry with myself for doing that, because, you know, that's pretty much pissed up a great season. You know, 2 losses I think we would have all been happy with, especially with the hard run we've got the last 2 games, you know, Chelsea and Arsenal. But giving away a win like that, giving away 3 points that cheaply, it's just an absolute freaking disgrace. And I am absolutely distraught and gutted. And then to see that Spurs have won the title already when there's still 3 or 4 games left to go was also a bit annoying. But, you know, congratulations to Spurs. They obviously deserved it. They've been an amazing team all season. I mean, I still personally feel whoever put Spurs into FIFA 13 this year has to be a Spurs supporter, because they feel so overpowered. They really, really do feel so overpowered when you play against them on world class. I wouldn't want to play them on Legendary, because I think they would just absolutely tear me a complete and utter new arsehole. I really do. But, you know, at the end of the day, they won the title. And you've got to be, you've got to be honest and say congratulations. So I think it's only fair that they did, and congratulations to them. And as you can see, Sterling comes to me and has a little bit of a dig, saying, no, I'm not fulfilling certain parts of the contract. Well, not being funny. He's played a huge chunk of the games. I really can't get over him. Yeah, I dropped him for a game, but, you know, I don't think he's missed more than about 7 games in the season. And when you think how many games we've played this season, I can't understand why he would come to me and have a bit of a dig and a moan. So I'm a little bit gutted. That's put me on the back foot a little bit and sort of got my back up to a degree. You know, that started me thinking about, you know, we need to plan for the summer. We really, really need to plan for the summer and start thinking about perhaps bringing in some big players and making some big changes. So as you can see, this is how the table now looks. You know, 16 wins, 17 draws, 3 losses. So extremely hard to beat, and we cracked 50 goals in the season, which is phenomenal. So we're on 65 points. Now Arsenal is our next game after the FA Cup final. They're a point ahead of us. Liverpool is 67. So realistically, we're now fighting with Liverpool and Arsenal for 4th or 5th. 4th or 5th position in the league, which I think is absolutely unbelievable and amazing. Look at City, they've managed to score 60 goals and still lose 8 games. That's utterly ridiculous. Utterly, utterly ridiculous. And oh my god, you know, we really can fight for 5th or 4th. I think if we finish 4th or 5th, it'd be phenomenal. So anyway, before the FA Cup final, I wanted to do a squad report so you could see how the team we have crafted together is growing. Because we have crafted this team. You guys have put in so much work and so much effort and time that I'm so proud of this team. For me, it really does feel like it's getting to the peak of its powers. You know, not every player's reached their peak yet, and that's the amazing factor. That really is the amazing factor. All the lads are playing well. Eduardo's going to be going out on loan next season. I made my mind up quite early doors with that. He's going out on loan. Look at Ward-Prowse, you know, +5 in the course of a season. And the season hasn't played too much. Look at, I'm disgusted. EA, you really do fuck me off. Look at that, it's ridiculous. -4 of his long passing. -5 of his short passing. That just takes the absolute piss. It really, really does frustrate me. Really does frustrate me. Absolutely annoyed about that. I'm so annoyed. Jesus, it's so wrong. It's just so unrealistic. I mean, look at Kevin Nolan. He played cracking against Liverpool on the weekend. You know, the boy is still a class player, and for them to knock him down so much is really, really, really just beyond frustrating. But look at Filippo. Wow, he is just amazing. He really is, at this moment in time, my go-to talisman. And speaking of talisman, there is Diami. There's Spence. Look at Benzia. Oof. Jesus, he's playing so well. Sissoko, he's now at his peak. He's been sitting at 82 for so long, I don't think he'll hit 83. The same with Josie, that is his max. He's been there for so long, he now won't budge and go up. And that worries me a little bit, having only an overall 80 striker. I think we might have to do something about him. I'm not sure yet. And look at that, Raheem has actually played 35 freaking games. You know, he hasn't done too bad. Anyway, guys, I'll see you at the FA Cup final. I hope you enjoyed that episode, and you guys are magnificent.